Hey there, everybody. Dr. Steve here with Kineci, and we're going into a slightly new little series here. This is going to be understanding your pain and trying to wrap your head around what is it that's bugging you and why, and what can you start to do about it. So it goes along with our Start Your Healing Now kind of series to have some tools to jump on what to do and where to start. But this is understanding your pain to hopefully shed a little bit more light and information on what's going on and then what to do about it. So let's start at the bottom of the body, plantar fasciitis. That's something that unfortunately hits a lot of people, and it's an annoying kind of pain. So some of the classic signs and symptoms of a plantar fasciitis are pain on the bottom of the foot, in the arch or in the heel. And so we'll get in a little closer, but basically the bottom of the foot here, have the little model piece fall apart, a model of the foot here, and there's the arch. And so very often a plantar fasciitis is where you get a sharp, often it's described as kind of a stabbing or kind of a tearing kind of pain. And the classic symptom is the first steps in the morning. So as you wake up and the very first time you put your feet onto the ground and go to take those first couple of steps, it's a hobbling kind of very uncomfortable, feels like you're kind of tearing the bottom of your foot apart as you're trying to race to the bathroom, and hopefully nothing gets in the way there. But if we kind of zoom in a little bit, so understanding a little bit more about the foot and the ankle in plantar fasciitis. So here, this is the medial side of the foot, or the inner part. This is the outer part of the foot with the fibula coming down, and the tibia is the main shin bone in front. But a plantar fasciitis is where the plantar fascia goes from the heel up to connecting to the toes, basically. And it's kind of this springy tissue on the bottom of the foot that's part of the whole propulsion mechanism. And so sometimes what happens is there can be a strain, there can be a real painful part. Sometimes it's really close to the edge of the heel, where the bump on the heel is the attachment point, and that's something that sometimes can get some bone spurs that poke into soft tissue and make it part of the unhappiness. Other times you can feel it more along the whole length of the arch, and sometimes it's just kind of into the heel itself. And so all of those are potential areas of pain that can be part of the plantar fasciitis issue, but so much of it has to do with the propulsion part as we're lifting the heel up, and this model doesn't totally show it, but the pushing off of the toes really lengthens through that plantar fascia and can be part of the painful scenario. So one of the things that goes along with is bending the ankle forward. And so when we bend the ankle forward, that's called dorsiflexion. And that's one of the key components of movement that we need for walking. And one of the other things to appreciate about the foot and ankle and how it relates to the kinetic chain. So the kinetic chain is where all the parts are connected to each other and they affect each other. And the old nursery rhyme, ankle bone connected to the knee bone, connected to the hip bone, all of that has so much truth in it, because through the kinetic chain, one of the things that happens when that foot is behind us as the back foot in gait, and we need the lengthening through the system, or what we call loading, so then it can explode to take the next step. But the way that we are designed, the foot and ankle and the hips, they are BFFs. They love each other. They work together in tandem, because when the ankle is dorsiflexion and we're getting that stretch on the bottom of the foot, the plantar fascia, at the same time we need this hip to extend behind us. So one of the things that happens is if there's pain on the bottom of the foot and the plantar fascia is painful, it will make it so that the ankle doesn't dorsiflex as much, because the body is afraid of that, but then that will limit how much the hip can extend, and that causes problems. So one of the ways that we want to improve the foot and ankle is to help the hip extend better. And so we need to stretch through the hip to help the foot and ankle, and vice versa. So that's where the kinetic chain comes into play. And the one other component that we're going to talk about is the sciatic nerve. So the sciatic nerve runs down from the low back, down through the hip and the back of the leg, and then just above the knee, it branches off into two branches that go down and feed the rest of the foot and ankle. And those nerves are what feed the tissue on the bottom of the foot. So sometimes we find, especially if it's a persistent plantar fasciitis, we find that the sciatic nerve has a contributing role. So we'll do an exercise specific to that. Now let's get into the very first thing that we're going to do is an ankle mobility. So working on that dorsiflexion range of motion, what we're going to do is this little knee to the wall ankle move. So I have it set up so that I'm going to show you in the two different angles. So here, giving you the side view, you have some targets out in front of you. If this is a wall, but your weight is on the one leg, the other toes are just keeping you from falling over, and we call that toe touch for balance. And then you get to use your hands. And what you're going to do is bend your knee to touch the wall or the box right in front of you. The key being the heel has to stay down. If you're back here and your heel is coming up, oh, that's too far. So we want to be at a distance where the heel can stay down and you can bend the knee to touch right in front. Like we do so many of our things, we're going to go in the three directions. So you're going to go straight in front, we're going to go to the right, we're going to go to the left, and so you're angling back and forth. And I'll give you the different view here in just a moment. And then we're going to do a rotation where you're keeping the knee bent and you're rotating back and forth, kind of swiping the knee along the wall. So that was kind of the side view. I have it set up here with the three spots to give you the kind of straight on view. So from here, you're on the one foot, the other toes are keeping you balanced. You're bending the knee to touch the target right in front. We go over to the right, we go over to the left, and so that's the side to side. And then we rotate where we're keeping the knee bent and you're kind of swiping or sliding the knee across the wall. So that's going to be the starting point, and then we're going to go into a part 2 and a part 3 where we'll take it into a couple other directions and address all of those pieces that we were talking about in the education piece about the kinetic chain, the hip connected to the ankle, and then the sciatic nerve. So keep moving, everybody, and until next time, enjoy that.